The fate of Google could hinge on this man, chess master.
So you press the clock when you've done your move. That's a good starting move.
Neuroscientist.
The human brain is the only example we have of such a general learning system, the type of system we would like to build and mimic.
Video game designer.
Ever since then, I felt that computers were this sort of magical device that could extend the power of your mind.
Academic.
And that's how you get kind of relentless progress.
Demis Hassabis has been behind some of the most critical technical breakthroughs in AI.
Artificial intelligence researchers has solved the game of Go a decade earlier than expected.
But now the AI arms race has moved into its next phase: applications, products, monetization. And somehow Google has lost its lead.
Google was very cautious about releasing these things because they worried about their reputation.
Now they're doubling down on Hassabis and tasking him with fixing it ahead of Google I/O, set to be one of the most important events in tech this year. Hassabis will take the stage for the first time alongside CEO Sundar Pichai. This week on TechCheck, the real test: can Google and Hassabis show Wall Street, investors, and the public that it can turn AI into actual products? The key question around Demis Hassabis is this: can a brilliant researcher and scientist also ship products that consumers love and use? He points to the very first thing that he shipped at just 17 years old as evidence that he can. Theme Park was a hit video game in the 90s that Hassabis tells me was great training for his current position. In the golden era of gaming in the 90s, he says, games had to be usable and fun to succeed. Now at Google, he is leveraging that background to marry cutting-edge technology and research with design and user interface. When Google acquired Hassabis' DeepMind back in 2014 for $500 million, it was widely recognized as the world's leading AI research lab. It had amassed some of the most prominent experts in deep learning, and Google gave DeepMind a long leash to operate independently. But 10 years later, Wall Street now says that Google fumbled that lead and is struggling to catch up to its mega-cap peers in the race to bring AI tech to the public.
Google has been, I think, hesitant to really push with the urgency that they need to push with to win the game of AI. OpenAI has not been hesitant at all. And I think that tells the story between why OpenAI is ahead and Google's not.
Under Hassabis, DeepMind was known for developing its technology through games like Breakout.
We started off with games at the beginning of DeepMind. This is back in 2010, so this is for about 10 years ago. It was our first big breakthrough.
And AlphaGo, an AI program that beat the world's top Go player.
I'm getting word Lee has resigned.
Yes.
So, as you said, a couple points behind after
it's a pity.
With a final result of 4-1.
4 wins for AlphaGo. Yes.
Very impressive indeed.
There was a practical reason for the focus on games.
The whole point of using simulations for the AI systems to learn in is that they can try out things in the simulation, which is it's totally safe, it has no consequences, but they can still learn from it.
It also drew on the massive ambitions that Hassabis has held since childhood.
My plan has always been, since I can remember, to work on AI ultimately, sort of do DeepMind. I always felt from a very young age that would be one of the most profound things that, could be worked on.
He became a child chess prodigy, becoming the second highest rated player in the world. At 17, he coded and led the design of that best-selling video game. Then went on to found his own video game company, Elixir Studios, also competing in the World Series of Poker.
In a way, what we're doing with our AI algorithms is kind of what I did to myself when I was training as a kid.
Hassabis, with DeepMind and then with Google, absolutely dominated their fields. Competitors not even visible on the horizon. Elon Musk telling OpenAI founders in 2018 that they would need billions of dollars to even have a chance of competing with Google. But a source who has worked with Hassabis and didn't want to be named says that for a period of time, he may have been more interested in winning academic accolades than launching products that people could actually use. Nature magazine is seen as one of the most prestigious and influential scientific journals in the world. And over the past decade, it has featured Hassabis' work many times. One of DeepMind's most important products, AlphaFold, was a groundbreaking piece of technology that used AI to help scientists predict the structure of proteins, one of the biggest challenges in biology for decades. DeepMind open sourced it, essentially giving it away for free.
We decided that there were so many downstream applications of AlphaFold that we couldn't possibly even imagine what they all were. So the best way to accelerate drug discovery and also fundamental research would be to give all that data away. AlphaFold is a kind of a gift from us to the scientific community.
And back in 2017, a team of Google researchers, separate from DeepMind, published a breakthrough study on transformers, a way for AI models to better process the text they train on, that essentially jump-started the wave of AI innovation that we're seeing today. OpenAI reportedly used that very paper to create its own chatbot. Transformers, that's the T in ChatGPT. It was ultimately that user-friendly chatbot released by OpenAI that brought generative AI into the mainstream. Not the groundwork that Hassabis and DeepMind and Google had laid for ChatGPT to even exist. Google was simply giving away its biggest products and research, helping its competitors.
They had the lead and they were being very cautious. They were being very cautious both about generative AI for images and about the large language models. And when OpenAI teamed up with Microsoft and ChatGPT was being used by Microsoft, Google couldn't afford to be cautious anymore.
That same source says ChatGPT caught Hassabis off guard and also fired up his extremely competitive spirit. Google got more aggressive too. The Washington Post reporting in May of 2023 that Google was internally announcing a big departure from its previous policy. Employees had to stop sharing their research with the world, only publishing papers after the research had been turned into products. And AlphaFold, now a business opportunity. Hassabis says the newly released version, AlphaFold 3, could be a multi-$100 billion business. The company has also secured commercial partners like Eli Lilly and Novartis for drug discovery.
I think what the ChatGPT moment did that changed was, and fair play to them to do that, was they demonstrated, I think somewhat surprisingly to themselves as well, that the public were ready to, the general public were ready to embrace these systems and actually find value in these systems. When we're working on these systems, mostly you're focusing on the flaws and the things they don't do and hallucinations and things you're all familiar with now. We were thinking, would anyone really find that useful given that it does this and that and the other? And we wanted to improve those things first before putting them out. But interestingly, it turned out that even with those flaws, many tens of millions of people still find them very useful. And so that was an interesting update on maybe the convergence of products and the science that actually all of these amazing things we've been doing in the lab, so to speak, are actually ready for prime time for general use beyond the rarefied world of science.
All eyes are now on Google as it tries to prove that it can go beyond that rarefied world of science and turn AI research into cold hard cash. Hassabis is fully aware of his new directive, telling us that his unit is like the engine room of Google, bringing the latest AI technologies to every corner, every product in Google to serve its billions of users.
What you can see today is that the research tracks and the product tracks have converged. You can have metrics, academic metrics coming out of your ears, but the real test is when millions of users use your product, and do they find it useful? Do they find it helpful? Is it beneficial to the world? And you get obviously a ton of feedback that way, and then that leads to very rapid improvements in the underlying models.
In the past year, though, as Google has shipped those actual products, the feedback has been mixed. But among Silicon Valley and AI insiders, Demis Hassabis is shaping up to be one of Google's most promising assets.
Demis is extremely competitive. I don't think I've ever met anybody more competitive.
Google has been consolidating its AI efforts and power around Hassabis, and a move that Sundar Pichai said would, quote, accelerate our progress in AI. That cutthroat competitiveness that got him to chess prodigy status and shipping an award-winning video game at just age 17, that might just be the kind of experience that Google needs now.